In today's podcast, you'll learn lots of vocabulary connected to the 12 signs of the Zodiac. Whether or not you believe in astrology, we invite you to join us as we look at the characteristics of each star sign and see if they make any sense. Welcome to
Aprender Inglés with Reza and Craig.
Hi, I'm Reza.
And my name's Craig.
And with more than 50 years of teaching between us, we'll help you improve your English and take it to the next level. Well, Craig, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I've just started another conversation course. There are some lovely students in the groups, and there'll be another course before Christmas. So if you are listening to this podcast around October, November time and you'd like to join us, you're more than welcome. So send me an email if you are interested. I'll send you information. My email address is Craig, C-R-A-I-G, @inglespodcast. So I'm very busy with those courses, giving students feedback, helping them with their English. That's taking up most of my time. What about you? How are you?
I'm fine. I'm just settling in now to the start of term. I'm beginning to get into my routine for the academic year, 2024-25. So all is good, I have to say.
Well, first this week we have a voice message from Uriel, otherwise known as Coffee, from Mexico.
Hi everyone. Hi Reza. Hi Craig. My name is Uriel Pedraza, but my friends call me Coffee. I'm from Mexico, and I'm here just to say thank you for the podcast. It's very useful for me. I knew the podcast for a teacher who was my teacher English. Anyway, I would like to make friends from Slovenia or Edinburgh. If anyone wants to chat, send me a WhatsApp message, and let's become friends. My phone number is 72276205339, and the country code is 52. Well, it's all, and thank you. See you later.
Well, thank you very much, Coffee, for your message. I've got two questions for you. The first question is, why do people call you Coffee? Is it because you like drinking coffee, or is there another reason? I know the coffee in Mexico is very, very good because I was lucky enough to go there this year. They have excellent coffee in Mexico. The second question is, why particularly Slovenia and Edinburgh? Are you thinking of traveling there? I'm curious why you'd be particularly interested to speak to people from those two countries. And I will, of course, put your phone number in the show notes to this episode. If anyone's interested in contacting you for language exchange, go to inglespodcast.com/540. Comments, Reza?
Yes, I was thinking the same as Craig. I've been in Edinburgh and it is a beautiful city. I like it very much. But I'm also curious to know why you specifically mention Edinburgh, and not Scotland in general, but specifically Edinburgh. Is that because you're a bit frightened of the accent from Glasgow? Which compared to, if you compare the Edinburgh accent, it seems easy compared to Glasgow. It's really, really difficult from the capital city. Edinburgh is quite easy compared to the biggest city, Glasgow, I believe. And why? Was it Slovenia? Why Slovenia? That's curious. We'd love to know why.
Yep, you've definitely piqued our curiosity. One or two things I noticed in your message, Coffee. You said, I knew the podcast for a teacher. I would change that and say, I heard about the podcast from my teacher.
And I think you also said my teacher English. Maybe you're translating from Spanish and you're putting the noun before the adjective, but it should be my English teacher is the right way around.
Next, we have a voice message from Maria.
Hi, Reza. Hi, Greg. How's it going? I'm Maria. I'm an English podcast lover. I have to say that I listening to every week. It's very useful for me, and I'm improving a lot my English listening to us. But I have to improve a lot my speaking, and I'm thinking about your online courses about in speaking. So please, could you send me more information about the timetable, because I I need time to practice, and I would like to practice with you. So thank you very much. See you soon.
Thank you, Maria. I actually did speak to you. So I had a conversation with Maria about the courses, and she's going to start very soon on the next conversation course. What I do is I offer a 10-minute or so consultation that's free, just to get an idea of your level so that I can place you in the correct group for conversation. So I'm really looking forward to having Maria in the next course. Any comments, Reza?
Yes, I'd like to comment on how good your pronunciation is, Maria, and how clear your message is. Having said that, there were a couple of things I think we could improve, and it's our job to help you, isn't it? So let me just point out that you said listening to us. You said that you're improving your English listening to us. Well, you mean listening to you, because you listen to us, yeah. So if you're not speaking at the same time of you as us, you can't be part of us, okay? So
wait a second, that completely confused me.
Yeah. To be honest, I've confused myself. Now, Maria, I don't know who I am. No, let me start again. You said I'm improving my English listening to us, but if you say us, that is the first person, so you would include yourself. But you are not one of the podcasters on this podcast. You are one of our valued listeners, but it's not quite the same thing. So you are improving your English listening to us. So when you say that, you have to say, I'm improving my English listening to you, is what you've got to say.
Right.
Also, the word a lot. A couple of times you didn't use that quite right. A classic mistake. You, in fact, said, I'm improving a lot my English. But you should say, I'm improving my English, and then a lot. We put a lot after the thing we're talking about. For example, I love Spanish cooking a lot. I love swimming on the beach on a summer's day a lot. You always put a lot after the thing you're talking about. So really it should be, I'm improving my English a lot listening to you.
Yeah, and the same can be said for the expression very much, can't it? Because that's often misplaced, especially by Spanish speakers. So instead of saying, I like very much football, you need to say, I like football very much, or I like football a lot. So make sure that goes at the end of the sentence. Right, let's get to the main part of the podcast, and that is the 12 signs of the Zodiac and astrology. Now, we're going to start with our first star sign, Libra, because it's round about the time when we're recording this podcast. So I'm guessing you have had, or you will soon have, a birthday, because Libra is from September the 23rd to October the 22nd. So, Reza, what are the character traits, we could say, traits, the typical characteristics of a Libran?
Well, first, I'd like to clarify that slightly different sources say slightly different things, but we've taken the most basic general characteristics that we could that nearly all sources agree with. You might find some sources would say slightly different things, but we've taken the most basic essence of each sign. So most people who talk about astrology agree that Libras are fair and social people. They seek balance and harmony. That's why their sign is the scales. Yeah, the scales, the balance, the things you use for weighing two different objects.
And for justice.
Balance. For justice as well. So balance, harmony, justice, fair. Yeah, that type of thing is represented with the scales. So not surprisingly then, they're often diplomatic and they strive. That means they make a big effort. They strive to create harmony in their relationships. Sounds like the ideal peacemaker, lawyer, that type of person.
And which famous people have this star sign of Libra? Well, we found Kim Kardashian, the TV personality. I have heard of her. I'm sure most people have heard of her. I have no idea why she's famous, but apparently she is. And she was born under this star sign. We use the preposition under for the star sign. Also, John Lennon, the famous musician from the Beatles. Mahatma Gandhi, the pacifist anti-colonialist who fought for Indian independence. He was a Libran. And Hugh Jackman, one of my favourite actors from the X-Men series.
So, Craig, which star sign follows from Libra? So, Libra's 23rd of September to 22nd of October. So, after that, what have we got?
We have Scorpio, the Scorpion, the sign of the Scorpion, from October the 23rd to November the 21st. And Scorpions tend to be passionate and determined. And they value truth very much, and they value loyalty. Apparently, they're ruled by Pluto. So very often,
cartoon character?
No, not the
One of my favorites. No,
sorry, not the Disney cartoon character Pluto. The planet. Well, it used to be a planet. Is it still a planet? I can't remember.
Oh, was it Pluto that they downgraded to a star or upgraded? I'm not sure.
I think it was Pluto, because Pluto is one of the smallest and the furthest from Earth. I think that was the one that was downgraded and demoted. But if I'm wrong, I'm sure our listeners will correct me. The planet of transformation is Pluto. And very often you hear in these star sign descriptions, they're ruled by. So the person is kind of controlled by a planet, apparently. That's what they say. And it gives Scorpions a deep and sometimes mysterious nature. My first girlfriend was actually a Scorpion with a Scorpio star sign. So yeah, she was quite mysterious. Maybe that's why she left me. Why did you leave me? Why did you leave me, Emma? Anyway, famous people, Reza, who are some famous Scorpions?
We've got some very famous Scorpions. We've got Bill Gates. I'm sure everybody's heard of him, the famous businessman.
Not exactly passionate, though, I would say.
No, passionate, no. Certainly determined, that's for sure.
Yes.
I mean, look where he's got. Not many people are that successful in life. Also, Katy Perry, who I'm vaguely familiar with. I certainly know the name.
She looks passionate.
She looks passionate, doesn't she? I must admit, I wouldn't be able to identify too many of her songs, but that's because, I'm getting on a bit, but I've heard of her. I would be able to identify one or two of Pablo Picasso. Picasso? No, I would have never heard of him. I would be able to identify one or two, not many, but one or two of Pablo Picasso's paintings.
Very passionate painter.
Very passionate and very original, very determined, mysterious, all those things. And another one which may or may not surprise you is Hillary Clinton, the politician, wife of Bill Clinton, who very nearly became the president of the United States.
Yeah, I'd classify her as being determined, although as far as passionate's concerned, I suppose you'd have to ask Bill. What's the next one, Reza?
Oh, the next one is a great one. In a totally unbiased, fair and trustworthy, 100% accurate way, I can tell you that the next star sign is the best. It's Sagittarius.
Would that by any chance be your star sign?
How did you guess? Yes.
You're a Sagittarius.
Yes, so I'm going to add myself to the list of people. Perhaps I can't quite put the adjective famous before my name, but I'm Sagittarius, or I'm a Sagittarian. So that's the 22nd of November to the 21st of December. And of course, as you all know, we are adventurous and optimistic people. We love freedom, travel, and exploration. You know what? I honestly think that is more or less true for me. I would have to agree with it.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially the optimistic part. I think you're very positive and optimistic, and you definitely love travel, and you're very curious. So I think that goes together with exploring, doesn't it? Being curious about things.
So, Craig, apart from me, who else is a Sagittarius to compare myself with some people?
Well, there's Taylor Swift, the singer. I'm sure everybody's heard of Taylor Swift. Her followers are called Swifties. Walt Disney. I went to see Walt Disney on Ice, but it was a bit disappointing. It was just an old bloke in a freezer. Joseph Stalin, the dictator.
A very nice guy. You see, we're lovely people, Sagittarius.
Yes. You wouldn't hurt a fly, would you, you Sagittarians? Brad Pitt. Yeah, I can see the resemblance.
Yeah,
you and Brad Pitt.
Physically, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So Reza's a Sagittarian. Our next sign is Capricorn, from December the 22nd to January the 19th. So that covers New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. These people, these Capricorns, they're highly ambitious and disciplined. They're focused on goals and success. They're driven, you could say. They're very ambitious. And famous Capricornians include Michelle Obama, the former First Lady, Mao Zedong, the revolutionary leader of China, Elvis Presley, and Martin Luther King Jr., the civil rights leader. I have a dream, Reza.
Okay, the next horoscope, or star sign if you prefer, is Aquarius. That's from the 20th of January to the 18th of February. And the typical characteristics for Aquarians is to be innovative and independent. They enjoy thinking about the future. And Craig, did you know that they're ruled by Uranus?
Well, there's a joke there somewhere, isn't there? I mean, I'm guessing
not Uranus.
Not Uranus?
No, not mine either.
You mean the planet?
The planet. So Uranus, Uranus. Spanish is probably Urano or something like that, is a planet. We spoke earlier about Pluto as a planet, or maybe it's a star now, we're not sure. But Uranus is the planet which rules Aquarius, and it's the planet of originality and change, which makes them natural visionaries, and often they're ahead of their time. They're so original. So we're talking about, for example, famous people such as Oprah Winfrey, the famous TV host from the United States. Another TV host from the United States, Ellen DeGeneres. And then going back quite a long time before those two famous ladies, we have Galileo Galilei, the famous astronomer. I thought it was very important to include his name because we're talking about astrology, which is star signs, but he was interested in the science of planets, not whether they make you an interesting person or not, but exactly what do the planets do. If it weren't for Galilei, we wouldn't know that we revolve around the sun and not vice versa. So a pretty important character, way ahead of his time. So ahead of his time that the church wanted to kill him for just saying it.
So it's important to distinguish, isn't it, the difference between astronomy and astrology, because they're very similar words.
Yeah, so Galilei, the famous astronomer, the scientist, and another person involved in politics, we've already had a few. Abraham Lincoln was an Aquarius, the former US president, of course.
Moving on to our next star sign, Pisces, the fish, from February the 9th to March the 20th. These people, according to what we found on the internet, are supposed to be compassionate and artistic. So if you were born between those dates, are you compassionate and artistic? Do you value dreams and creativity? Apparently, people who are born under this sign of Pisces, they are ruled by Neptune, which is the planet of dreams and intuition, which gives them a richer inner world and a very strong connection to their emotions and creativity. So intuition is an inner sense. It's kind of like a gut feeling, a feeling in your stomach that guides you to make decisions that are perhaps not based on facts and logic, things that feel right. That's your intuition. Reza, who are the famous people who were born under the Pisces sign?
Well, although Craig has just said that Pisces are good at intuition and emotions and that sort of thing, that doesn't mean they are lacking logic. Albert Einstein, the scientist, for example, was a Pisces. Also, Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone. So just because you're emotional doesn't mean you haven't got the creativity to invent physical objects or come up with concepts.
His name rings a bell.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Very good. More on the creative side, we got Rihanna, the singer. And lastly, a bit of both, a bit of kind of invention and creativity mixed into one person. We've got Steve Jobs, of course, the famous co-founder of Apple.
And the next sign we have is Aries from March the 21st to April the 19th. And these people are said to be very energetic and brave. They like to start new things and to be first, so quite competitive. People born under the Aries sign are very often seen as pioneers and leaders. And no surprise then that on our list of famous people, Leonardo da Vinci, the famous artist and inventor, obviously a pioneer and a leader in many things. Charlie Chaplin, a wonderful film star, comedian, and groundbreaking actor back in the day. Lady Gaga and Robert Downey Jr., the famous actor who played Sherlock Holmes and... what was the name of that Marvel character, Reza?
Iron Man.
Iron Man, thank you. Iron Man.
Our next sign are the bulls, Taurus. In English spelled Taurus, the bulls, Taurus. Obviously, bull from the Latin, yeah? Sounds like the Spanish word toro. They're the 20th of April to the 20th of May, and they are thought to be patient and reliable. They enjoy comfort and stability, and take pleasure from nice things. Also, they're said to be appreciative of music, art, and all things beautiful. And when I say the first name on my list, you'll think, yeah, that makes sense. William Shakespeare. Of course, the famous playwright, the writer of plays, who's probably the most famous writer of the English language. And indeed, we think of beautiful things and pleasure and good things, very positive. Adele, a much more contemporary version there of the world of the arts, the singer. David Beckham, the footballer, is another Taurus.
An artist in his sport.
That's true. And he seems like a very placid guy, patient, reliable to be a good footballer. But I discovered one which doesn't seem to fit in with the rest of the list. We said likes beautiful things, comfort, stability, patient, reliable. Well, Adolf Hitler, it turns out, was a Taurus. Now, you don't need me to tell you who Hitler was. Patient, reliable, enjoys beautiful things. Maybe he's the exception that confirms the rule or something. I don't know.
Well, he was a painter. I don't think he sold paintings. I think he was quite disappointed with his artistic career, but in his early days he studied art and he was a painter and he loved music. One of his favorite composers was Wagner. So I can see that side of him, but I did like the way in the notes, Reza, you put Adolf Hitler, brackets, dictator, etc.
Yeah.
I mean, describing Hitler as a dictator, etc., is maybe leaving out quite a few things that he did in his lifetime. None of them really positive. So, yeah, another Taurian, I think it is, Taurus sign. Next, we get on to one of the greatest of the 12 signs, second only, perhaps, to Sagittarius, the sign of Gemini. That's my sign, the twins. And the dates for Gemini star sign, May the 21st to June the 20th. My birthday's on May the 25th. All presents of chocolate gladly appreciated. Curious and talkative are the Gemini people. Yeah, I think I'm quite curious, and obviously with a podcast, I'm talkative. Known for their dual nature, the duality, having two maybe personalities together like twins. I think that's very true with me. The difference of the angel and the devil, the good and the bad, fighting constantly inside me. I think that's very true.
I'm a bit worried now, Greg. Is there other things you haven't been telling me about yourself?
I think you know everything there is to tell, Reza. Love learning, yeah, and sharing ideas, definitely, as a teacher. Adaptable, but also indecisive. I'm not so sure about that. I'll let you know when I've decided if I'm indecisive. I don't know. Who are the famous Gemini people, Reza?
Well, let's start with someone who has clearly a physical resemblance to Craig, Marilyn Monroe, the actress. I mean, you can see clearly that they're virtually twins themselves.
Well, now that my hair's going grey, I'm getting closer to a blonde colour.
We've also got, I got to admit, am I going to pronounce it right? I'm not sure. Is it Kanye West?
Yes, well done.
So I vaguely know the guy. He's a rapper, but I wasn't quite sure how to pronounce his name. He's a Gemini. This time, Craig, would you accept a physical comparison to Johnny Depp, the actor?
Definitely. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm very, very similar to Johnny Depp. And that's why I've got a podcast and not a video show on YouTube.
And the last one I was determined to put in because it's someone that I really feel that he's an unsung hero. That is the Gemini Tim Berners-Lee.
What does unsung hero mean?
So if you sing about something, obviously everybody hears. So if something is unsung, nobody hears about it. So an unsung hero is a hero, but not many people know about him. He's a hero, or he should be, but not to many people. For me, Tim Berners-Lee is an unsung hero. I've written here computer scientist, but without any doubt, he's the person on this list who deserves to be a lot more famous than he is, except for Craig, of course, apart from Craig, because Craig, I guess you know, what did he invent?
Only the way to communicate across the world using the internet. Yeah, nothing much really.
But I bet loads of our listeners listening to us via internet, I bet loads of them don't know his name, but they do know Steve Jobs, they do know Bill Gates, but not Tim Berners-Lee. He invented the World Wide Web.
Absolutely. Moving on to our next star sign, Cancer, the crab, the shellfish that moves sideways. Do you think crabs think that humans move sideways?
Yeah, they probably think we move in a really weird way.
Yeah, they probably do. Anyway, Cancer the crab from June the 21st to July the 22nd. And people born under the Cancer star sign are caring, sensitive, and emotional. They value home and family. Does that suit your star sign if you were born between those dates? Famous people born under the Cancer sign: Princess Diana, Tom Hanks, the actor, Elon Musk, the entrepreneur, and the person who's destroying Twitter at the moment, Selena Gomez, who I hadn't heard of, so I needed to Google Selena Gomez. She's a singer, she's an actress, originally from Texas, came to fame or stardom via the Disney Channel, and she is now an entrepreneur. She's the founder of a cosmetics company called Rare Beauty. Had you heard of her?
I'd heard of her, yes. I probably wouldn't recognize her if I saw a picture of her, but I'd certainly heard of her. I know that she's a big star in the United States. So that was Cancer. That certainly seems true of home and family for Elon Musk. Do you know approximately how many kids he has?
I don't think he speaks about his family very often, but I don't know. I'd guess maybe 3 or 4.
16, as far as I know.
16?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's no secret he doesn't deny that. But you're right, he doesn't speak about it much, but he's had several relationships. I think he has 16 kids.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that does tie in with the idea of home and family.
Yeah.
And he does look after them all. I mean, he provides for them all. He certainly has enough money to do so.
Richest man in the world, I suppose he can afford to.
Yeah. Oh, he's got, I think it's 16. Now, you can Google it and find out, but I'm pretty sure it's 16 kids that he has.
By the way, now that you've mentioned him, you might be pleased to hear that I've changed my mind about Elon Musk. As you know, I used to be very enthusiastic and a supporter of his projects, but in the last year or so, I've changed my opinion. I really am starting to dislike him now.
Oh, why is that?
Because of the way he's ruined Twitter, and he's using the platform to coerce or convince people how to vote in the election, and the stupid things he's been saying on Twitter, and the way he's using the platform and the algorithm to affect society negatively. So I've really changed my mind, which people do sometimes.
Yeah, I must admit, I was very suspicious when he bought it, and he said it would be all about freedom of speech, which sounds good. But then he started giving his opinion far too much on it and trying to influence people. I thought, well, if it was about freedom of speech, he wouldn't be telling all the users who they should vote for, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, I think people have the right to say what they want to say, but what I don't agree with are the algorithms, and the algorithm of Twitter is pushing things up. So I think he needs to take responsibility for the algorithm, even though people have got the right to say what they want to.
Yeah. Well,
back to the podcast.
Like him or love him, he's certainly a successful entrepreneur, that's for sure.
For the moment.
So our next sign is Leo. In Spanish, you say Leo, but in English, we pronounce it Leo. Leo the lion, of course. They are born between the 23rd of July and the 22nd of August. And they are said to be confident and generous. They enjoy being the center of attention. So maybe we could say that they like to show off. That's a good phrasal verb, if you like to be the center of attention. Because they're natural performers and natural leaders. I'll give you a few examples. Barack Obama. He certainly was a leader of the most powerful country in the world when he was president. Jennifer Lopez. Is she a show-off? Does she like to be the center of attention? Possibly, I don't know. Do you like Jennifer Lopez?
I do like Jennifer Lopez. I like her films. I like some of her music. I mean, most people in the public eye, I think, most people who are famous in the way that she is famous, I think they tend to be the center of attention, whether they like it or not. So they use the spotlight, the focus, the center of attention to expand their influence and become more famous and earn more money. I think that's a natural progression. But I do like her, yeah.
Yeah, me too. I quite like her, yeah. Another Leo is Fidel Castro, the former leader, now dead, the revolutionary leader of Cuba. And yes, he was famous for loving being the center of attention. He loved giving these really, really long, dramatic political speeches, which went on for hours. And the last person on our list is Madonna, not the holy Madonna, but the singer Madonna, who many people say, yeah, she certainly does like to be the center of attention. Very talented woman, natural performer, natural leader, probably. That all seems true for her. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. My mum was a Leo. And I think the only thing that might be true from this description is the generosity. So she was very generous, mainly inside the family more than outside, but definitely a generous woman. And all the others, center of attention, natural performer, leader, confident. No, not my mum.
What's the next sign, Craig?
The next one is the Virgin, Virgo, from August the 23rd to September the 22nd.
The Virgin. Oh, you've thrown me there then. The Virgin, because that my mum, and I have a feeling my mum wasn't a virgin.
Well, the fact that you're sitting here opposite me means that she wasn't.
If she was a virgin, I've got a lot of investigation to do to find out about my roots.
Immaculate conception. So, people who were born under the Virgo sign, practical and detail-oriented. So very much focused on detail and very practical people. Is that your mum?
Yeah. In a way, yeah.
Like to help others. These people like to help others. They're known for their attention to detail and analytical mind. Does your mum have an analytical mind?
Attention to detail, but not analytical. No. Overthinking things, yes, but analytical, no.
These people are perfectionists and they excel in their tasks. So they do their tasks extremely well, especially tasks and things that require precision. So are you a perfectionist? Are you a virgin? Are you? Sorry.
Don't answer that, anybody, please. We could get into legal problems.
Sorry, I meant to say, are you a perfectionist? Are you a Virgo? That was what I meant to say. Who are the famous Virgo people?
We've got a couple more singers. We've got Beyonce. She's a Virgo. The late, great Michael Jackson. He was another Virgo. Certainly a perfectionist. Anybody who ever worked with him would say that. And boy, did he excel in what he did, that's for sure. Elizabeth I, the Queen of England. Now, not the Queen who recently died in the 21st century. We're talking about the first Queen Elizabeth. The one who, I can't resist saying this, I always get a kick out of saying this, the one who whopped the Spaniards' asses. The one who beat the Armada. Had to be a woman, eh? A woman beat the Spanish Armada. She was a tough lady. Elizabeth I, she beat the Spanish Armada, so she was a pretty strong lady. And Keanu Reeves, the actor.
So those are our 12 signs of the Zodiac, but now it's your turn to practice your English. Do you believe in astrology? And did any of these definitions reflect your personality for your star sign? Let us know. Do you tend to get on well with people of certain star signs or not get on well with others? Let us know what you think. We'd be more than happy to include your voice message in a future podcast. To contact us by voice message, go to speakpipe.com. That's speakpipe.com/Ingles podcast. Emails, Reza?
If you prefer to write to us, you could write to either craig@inglespodcast.com or belfastreza@gmail.com.
And those links to SpeakPipe and our email addresses, as always, in the show notes at inglespodcast.com/540 for this episode. Now, if you're a Spanish speaker, and we know that many of you are, and you want to improve your English with some free and paid resources, why not visit the Mansion Ingles website at mansioningles.com. And for paid products, we do have an online store. That's at store.mansioningles.net.
As always, we'd like to thank all our Patreon supporters. And just in case you don't know about Patreon, it's a program through which people sponsor us by donating money. There's a link in the show notes. It's patreon.com/inglespodcast. And for people who decide to sign up to Patreon, as a way of saying thank you to them, they will get instant access to transcriptions of the podcast, as well as a little Zoom meeting with you, Craig. Isn't that right?
That's right. Yep. We'll connect on Zoom. I'll send you a link via the Patreon messaging system and we can have a chat and you can practice your English and ask me any questions that you might have about English.
So we'd like to thank all of our sponsors, but we haven't got time for that. So we'll do what we always do, which is to name our most recent supporters on the scheme who've joined this month. Who are they, Craig?
They are Tarabello, Volmir Chiapetti, Juana, Susana, Patricia Fernandez, and Bruna. Thank you to you and to everyone who supports us and are continuing to support us on Patreon. What's next week, Reza?
Next week, we're going to talk about expressions and collocations with the word run.
3 little letters there, the little word run, and similar to the word get. I was surprised to see how many uses, collocations and meanings and phrasal verbs there are with just 3 letters run. So join us next week, expand your vocabulary. Until next time, thank you very much for listening. Have a lovely week. It's goodbye from me.
And it's bye-bye from me.
If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to mention it to your friends so that we can get more people listening and expand the reach of our podcast. And the music this week is by Pitts. The track is called See You Later.